that call. So thanks. I'm excited to see some new faces. We definitely met many of you at IT Nation, so that was also exciting. So those of you that have never been here before, we start with a few housekeeping items and then have a different topic every week. And these topics range from a new feature release that's coming out, product enhancement requests. So that's always a popular one because this is really the place where we get feedback from folks on what to build next. So we absolutely, like the folks that are in this call that are regulars, have definitely been folks that have given us insights into what other insights we need and help the product roadmap. We talk through best practices. Sometimes we have other industry folks who have some insights. We try not to sales pitch those other folks, but let them to provide content to you. And then we'll, walk through some pieces and portions of the platform. If you have ideas for this, we are always taking those. And so we'll get rolling now. I don't expect that this week will take a long time, but if you have ideas along the way, we always end with questions if folks have them. So first, I will make note that because Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are on Fridays, I mean, if you want to come hang out with us, I don't go out much, but more likely we will not have this call at 3 p.m.
I will be drinking, and if you guys want to come, I will host this call. I am that committed. If you guys want to come drink with me on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, I will do it.
I was going to say no, but now that we know he's going to be,
there you go.
Maybe it'll be worth it.
I will go crack open the Mad Elf that's sitting out in the.
I really feel like you should just collaborate with Tech Bar and make this just a
Christmas drinking eve. There you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
I am going to put all of these links in chat, so I sure hope they populate. And so these are 3 webinars we've had out recently. So yesterday, Alex and I did build a budget. It was 30 minutes, a 30-minute Thursday. Many of you attended, but this was 20 minutes of the philosophy and strategy behind why bringing a full technology budget to your partners is something you could do now before the end of the year. William is definitely a champion on like that asset list sells, get the red out, right? So feel free to, and that's the 30-minute video for that. The human stack, this was a webinar that I did. It was a partner first webinar with Ray from OIT VoIP, where we chatted through notions around customer success. I feel like that's not new to any of you because somehow 2,800 people have seen that one. BCIO Meets Customer Success is a podcast with MSP Unplugged. And then we also did an interesting one with MSP Trends and with lots of folks in this space. So if you are one of those YouTube junkies that wants to junkie on some Lifecycle Insights pieces, then you can find us there. I have one question for you is what are you doing Wednesday, January 26th? I think Alex and I are pretty excited about this. I'm very excited about it because we would love to do and host some kind of user group, and we weren't ready to pull the trigger, weren't sure how many folks we could get to attend. So we are sponsors of the 7-figure MSP. We asked if we could add a day on in the front where we would do full soup to nuts 5 hours of Lifecycle Insights. And we've got 3 topics that we really want to address in this. Alex, do you want to talk through what we're hoping to accomplish in those 5 hours? And then we'll.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with a new prospect, right? Because everybody comes to us and says, "Oh, it's a great QBR tool," but what we really want to start with is what do you do with that person who has a current MSP? You're trying to dislodge that MSP. You're trying to show how you're different. We'll show you how to use Lifecycle Insights as a pre-sales tool to drive a wedge between them and their current provider without having to be a hard pressure sales guy, just to go out and have a good conversation with a prospect, convert them over to your side, bring the business in your way. We'll show you how to use the tools that we have to let the customer see what it would be like to work with somebody who actually does strategic business reviews, but have strategy and kind of set all that up.
So, and I'm gonna pause you for a second because if you're not aware that you can do prospect assessments that don't count against your subscription. So you can have assessment only companies unlimited. So if you've got a package of Lifecycle Insights to pay for 25 customers. You can do assessments for 100 prospects, and it's no additional cost. So we really think that's a value add. If you haven't utilized that, we hope you do.
And that doesn't stop you from going out and charging for that assessment, right? You can sell the assessment that we give you for
free
free.
to you doesn't
Right.
mean it needs to be free to someone
Right.
else. Okay.
So
So that's the first thing.
So
is
you can go out at no cost to you, perform these assessments, and try and use them to bring in customers. Once you've landed the customer, what do? Right now, we've got to onboard a customer. We've got to meet with them in 90 or 180 days or whatever our process is, and deliver that first QBR. So we'll show you how to go from the the new prospect, carry over some of that information as much as we can into that first meeting with the customer, and have that first meeting really land and deliver some value, and show the customer then that they're the first after post onboarding meeting. We'll show you how to deliver that first QBR to that customer. That'll be a combination of comparison, where you started and where we are today, to really move the needle and show the customer how they're getting better every time by working with you, to kind of get their buy-in to this customer strategy function that gets them to the QBR next time, and the next time, and the next time. We'll share a lot of tricks on how to present it, as well as how to build it all in the tool and get it out there. And then Marnie, I feel like the last one is really your baby. So do you want to explain number 3?
Yep, absolutely. And number 3 is really customer success, and how can we scale a process for tracking metrics around customer success.
For those of you who haven't been here to see it, we're in beta on a customer success module, so we'll be using that in the January session to show you guys how to use that to drive things a little further. If you come to the session, we'll give you a free trial of the customer success platform, so that you can play along and build it out while we're there.
So Alex, if you would check chat for a hot second while I finish this. So that day in January 26th, we'll be in Phoenix. The cost is $97 for the day, and that includes lunch. If you're one of our partners and would like to join, we can probably get you free tickets if you want to stay for the next 2 days to the 7-figure event that is going on as well. So we are attaching ourselves to the beginning of that, just to get them to organize hotels and everything else. But you can just come for that day and walk away. So this is an active workshop where you will walk through these pieces inside Lifecycle Insights, your instance, and really walk away with some deliverables. So if Phoenix on January 26th sounds like a good idea to you, we would love to meet you there. So we will get you more details, but we think it's a really consumable opportunity to really dive in and get our workshop pieces pulled together. So that's why we asked what you're doing Wednesday, January 26th. So I'm gonna just give me 1 second. Okay, so today I want to show just a couple of pieces around the users, and then I'll pass it over to Alex if you've got other pieces you want to include along the way.
Yep.
So in the user list, we sent this out last week. We have now added 2 pieces. The default setting is to hide on Microsoft.com users, but support had gotten many tickets about folks wanting to see them. So you can uncheck this and it will add the on Microsoft.com users. So there are a couple use cases where people would want to be able to see that. The other piece is you'll notice that the rightmost column is new in the fact that it is colored. So blue is if we're not sure of the last activity date. Green is we know the last activity date and it's recent. And then red is the one that folks will most want to address. So as I unselect green and blue, I've really got the list of folks that I probably want to go to my client about and say, why have these folks not logged in since X date? So the one new functionality in addition to the coloring is this little gear that you can set the threshold date. So I have this 30 days from right now. So if somebody hasn't logged in the past month, that might be a trigger for me that I want notification. So this is one way that you can kind of add some extra functionality to that page. And let's not forget that you can always manage columns if you want to change. If you want to send this to a client, you could say that I really just want to send this information, and off they go. You could download that report. So just wanted to share that. Those came out in the release. That's available to everyone. One of the things we said we wanted to talk about on this call was that this weekend we will be releasing our Breach Secure Now integration, but I put in the Facebook chat that, and if you're not in our Facebook group, please do join. It's the Lifecycle Insights user group. Even if you're not a Breach Secure Now partner, I suggested you come to the party because we want to build this out for the other security phishing training types of platforms. And so we're going to poll you today on which of those platforms are, but it would have the same functionality. So it would, your column wouldn't say Breach Secure Now, it might say Fin Security or something else. So Breach Secure Now, this column, if you integrate, you will be able to, again, see who's in Breach Secure Now or not, as well as you can see the Breach Secure Now, the latest ESS score, the PFR, their average score, their annual score. Again, these are columns that you can control so that if you don't want to show that in a report to the client, you certainly don't have to. But you'll notice on the left-hand side that if you have Breach Secure Now, and again, this is just Breach Secure Now today, but we'll certainly have others in the future, we now have a security awareness report. So many folks have asked to get some high-level reporting around the company, right? The average score across the company, the average phishing fail rate, et cetera. So we've got some tiles across the company. I don't know what that chat is. Oh, it's a lot of yay. And then you can see that there are threshold cuts for the latest ESS. So we worked a lot with Breach Secure Now to make sure we communicate the information that you were interested in seeing in the report. So we spent a good bit of time with them. They are very excited about this, that our joint partners are getting this information and can now share it in a business review. The other piece of this is that in Report Builder, it is now available as a component. So you can add the Breach Secure Now template to the Report Builder. So it'll just populate as part of the reporting. The rules for this will come out in Monday's email as we're still working on documentation. But as of right now, you will need to contact Breach Secure Now through a ticket so that they can send us the proper flux capacitors, widgets, bells, whistles, whatever they need to do. The magic happens with
There's
the
something
ticket.
they have to do to expose the API.
What I do know
APIs,
is that, yeah, the API is not ready for us to go hook into, so they have to expose it for your site.
per tenant,
So
yeah.
those are per tenant. Thank you. Those are the words I was looking for. I was confident it wasn't flux capacitor, but I was like, it's not API, because if we had an API, we'd just pull it ourselves. That's what it is they need to create it so that you can grab your secure keys, your secret keys, and put it in yourself.
Yep.
So, Alex, I think I want to jump over to the poll next, and then are you good to go?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to grab this. So first, I love that folks put in the chat that this is awesome. If you are not a Breach Secure Now partner, in the chat, I have just put the forms. Actually, we would like everyone to fill this out. We are meeting in a couple of weeks to determine the integrations that we're aiming for 2022. And so we'd love your feedback on, Alex asked a few different questions, what you're using for CSAT, like a smile back tool, that type of thing. So if you would just take a minute to do that, I'll actually be quiet for a minute. And for those of you listening to this recorded call, I know that'll be shocking that Alex and I are going to be quiet for a minute, but you have a form link in the email that comes with the recording. So please do that now.
Tim, if there's stuff there that you need that isn't there, just shoot me an email. Make sure that I know what it is. Oh, Kirk, all the jokes that I can't say because we're being recorded. All right, are we good? Are we good? Has everybody gotten
That was, I'm going to
gotten
say,
through? So with that, a couple weeks ago, you guys said that there was a product or two that you were having some trouble selling. And we talked about whether or not it made sense to drag in a couple of our vendor friends to come have a conversation about how to present products to your customers to get over the hump. But I know MFA was one of the big ones, right? Everybody has trouble getting their customers talked into doing MFA. So with that, we've dragged in Evan from Duo, and he's got one of his colleagues here from Umbrella. So Evan, why don't you hop off mute and come chat with us a little bit about Duo. But before you do, I want to say, if you're an MSP and you don't at least use Duo internally, you've lost your freaking mind because they give it to you for free. Is that a good enough intro, Evan?
That is a great intro, and I appreciate it. I just got the battery low.
Running for the charger.
We good. I just fixed it. I unplugged my computer. Does anyone else have that excuse? Popping back in my blue. Well, hey, everyone. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon. And Alex, thanks for including us. We're super excited to be here.
And if you have slides and such, you're welcome to steal the screen share. You can see we spare no expense on our slides when it comes to our Friday workshops.
Definitely. Yeah, we will both share some slides. So I'm Evan Swoish. I'm a partner manager with the Duo MSP team. On the phone with me as well as my colleague Ron, who is also a partner manager on our MSP team. He covers our southern, southwest, I don't know what we call it now, territory. So if you have any customers and you're around, the southwest region, Ron's going to be your guy. And then I also have my colleague John Rivera, who is part of our new Duo Cisco Umbrella MSP program. And he's going to take us through a little bit about DNS and Umbrella and the benefits of the new MSP program as well.
And that's awesome, because I will tell you, as an MSP, we didn't do Cisco Umbrella. And you know why? Because we had to deal with Cisco and they were difficult. And since they bought you guys and they realized that Duo knows how to talk to MSPs, and they're kind of, you were telling me, they're kind of duplicating the Duo program that was successful over on the Umbrella side. So how are they coming with that? Is this an easier stretch for MSPs to work with Umbrella today? John, you're muted. You're on mute. There it is.
All right. Sorry about that. Could you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. There we go.
Perfect. It is night and day. So
nice.
Having to work with a disti or even with Cisco in general, it's a much lighter, much easier process. And so what we built out essentially was this center that you would go to. It's called Cisco Secure Center. It's a credit card driven, no minimum requirements, no cap. You simply go on to the platform, you sign up, it's one-time registration, and it's going to be a a center for you to acquire SaaS products. So the first product on there is Umbrella. So it's DNS Essentials and DNS Advantage. Simple pricing, you pay at the end of the month for whatever you use, and then you're able to grow your business from that point. It's terrific. We've been getting such a great feedback from it as well, especially since majority of these MSPs have worked with Duo prior, and they like the way that it's consumed and also the support aspects behind it. We essentially have the same thing going on, and so it's an easy, straightforward model. You get the same 24-hour support as well, and you just pay as you go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's talk about what these guys are really struggling with, because the majority of what we do with them is risk assessment based, right? We go out and we have the conversation with the customer based on a risk assessment. We're talking about what exposure exists in the environment if they don't have MFA or if they don't have DNS filtering. I don't know if you guys want to do one product first and then the other, or if we just don't want to kind of banter back and forth. But MFA was specifically one where everybody said it's a hard sell. Nobody wants to be inconvenienced by it. What are the successes that Duo partners who are knocking it out of the park are having, and what are they doing different from the partners that just aren't able to land it?
Sure. So I think a lot of the success comes from being able to frame the conversation with the clients. Actually, I'm going to share my screen. I had a little bit of a presentation that actually take us right down this road, and
awesome.
Instead of having to look at my mean mug, now you get to look at a beautiful slide.
I'm the one that gets to say I have a face for radio. You can't steal that line.
So I love that. So when it comes to MFA and commanding the message, I think the best MSPs, instead of creating the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that comes with the potential for a ransomware attack, and mostly because of broken and stolen credentials, it's about what you're talking about is an honest assessment of the client security posture from top to bottom. MFA is going to be the core, bare minimum, simplest way to get in. And if you have like a SASE package that you're putting together, that's where most of the success comes from, is really not giving your client an option. Saying, hey,
that's what James said in the chat. He finds the best way is just to require it and don't give them a choice.
We have, I just worked with a new MSP who's just starting to kill it in our program. And they have a ransomware package. It has 4 products. Duo is one of them. And it is a non-negotiable with clients. The way they frame that conversation is mostly around cyber insurance requirements at this point. So if your clients haven't gotten hit with, hey, we've denied your cyber insurance, you need MFA, they will. And if they don't, they just don't have cyber insurance, which is crazy. So it's about getting ahead. It's about not having to rush. It's about not getting denied by your insurance. And there's a lot that you can show with Duo that's going to make the user experience easy. It's going to make the administrative side of it easy. And that's what's most important, is making it easy on everyone, because we are adding an extra step to a user's day. But how can we make it simpler and easy? And I'll tell you this, I wear my Duo gear all the time, my Duo swag. I have people stop me that use Duo, whether they used it in college, whether they used it at their company, and they always say, I love Duo. I'm like, that's weird. You like 2-factor authentication? Like, we don't make your life a living hell. I'd love to hear that. That's awesome. So really, if we're structuring the conversation with the client, sometimes we say multi-factor authentication, and I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, but sometimes clients don't actually understand what it is at its base level. And this is kind of a deck that I cut up that's usually like a sales training for my MSPs. But if you can really break it down where you're just adding something you have to something being a password, and then now obviously a phone, in most cases maybe a hardware token. If you can break it down to that base level where it's not inconveniencing the user, it's nothing else additional that they have to have on them. It's simply just providing a second form of verifying they are who they say they are. We take this as far as talking about, what's the new IT reality? How are actors or bad actors getting into the environment? Basically, a long time ago, MFA wasn't needed because everything was on-prem, and if it came from outside the organization, it didn't matter. Now we're either hybrid or fully cloud in most organizations. Most small, medium-sized businesses are pretty much hybrid nowadays in one way or another. So there's users logging in with devices that are not corporate issued. There's contractors logging into the environment more and more than they used to. So we need to not only ensure that stolen credential that's coming in from a device that we can't verify is correct and can be approved with the device. But also, if it is a bad actor, we're stopping it in its tracks right there. So, sharing statistics like this go a long way. 84% of ransomware attacks and breaches are leveraged weak or stolen passwords. And again, this is why legislation, regulators, and insurers are pushing and increasingly mandating MFA, because fraud is so easy to do now with stolen passwords.
And if you'll back up just one screen there, you're back to that statistic. Guys, you can put that right in your risk assessment as part of the recommendation, right? You can literally pull some of this and present it as part of the conversation with your customer. And don't forget, if it really boils down to it, you can actually take a screenshot of something that makes this easier to look at, right? If you get a slide that really drives it home, or if we can make a one pager that really drives this home, we can use Report Builder to add this into Lifecycle Insights, to have an explainer page, if you will, to help you get over the hump of just not being able to get your customer to make sense of it. So maybe maybe we can coax Evan out of some of his slides and see if we can come up with a one pager that we can include to talk about MFA, if you guys think it would be helpful.
Definitely.
Sorry, go ahead.
I can't say no to you, Alex. Whatever you think about it.
It's this pretty face, I tell you.
I'd be happy to explain it to you, Evan, but for this case, I'm not going to give you any of the secrets.
Right.
I may need them. I'm in sales too. Come on. So a lot of the times you're going to get hit with the very first pushback from a client was, okay, you've made me understand why MFA is important, but you want to use Duo or whomever. That's going to cost me money. What if we just use all the native apps, all the native 2FA apps that are built in? Well, it's an utter nightmare for their users. And that's a picture that you can paint really easily, especially with slides like this. The user's phone is going to have all these random apps on it.
That's what my life feels like.
Hardware tokens. What's that?
That's what my life feels like right there.
Well, we need to get you Duo. We need to get you all signed up. So really, from a usability standpoint, users are really going to push back. No centralized management. Your administrators are going to push back as well, because it's going to be a pain in the butt. Sorry, it just got really dark here in good old Dallas, Texas. It's going to be a pain to reactivate all these different things if a client gets a user gets a new phone, and there's no way you're going to have support for all these apps. These organizations always put in 2FA as a bare minimum, borderline not finished addition to their software. And honestly, that's when Duo comes in. And my goal today was more to educate you on MFA and to help you navigate, but I'm happy to share a little bit about why Duo fixes a lot of these issues. And it's totally up to you if you want to reach out and talk with us about it. But basically, Duo is protecting every application in the environment, from an Active Directory Windows login from boot to an RDP to VPN to Salesforce, all your SAML, Radius, LDAP applications, Netgear switches, anything you can think of. It all is going to go to a single Duo app. To deploy is truly effortless and quick to do. If the user says, hey, I don't want the Duo app on my phone, just like they may say that about a Microsoft Authenticator, we can do other things like SMS, phone call, U2F, biometrics, hardware tokens, anything like that. I ask you to push back on that though, because if they have Facebook on their phone, they're already given a lot more of their data than they think they are.
True story.
And at the end of the day, Duo is an agentless authentication app. We're not looking at anything that's going on. All we're doing is at the time of authentication, when that Duo user presses approve, we're ensuring that device is hygienic. We just want to make sure the Duo app's up to date. We want to make sure the phone is up to date. You know, nothing's end of life, nothing's jailbroken, so that that device is clean, so that it's hygienic and is able to approve. So to kind of sum it up and let John go into DNS, which is, and I'm not shooting shots here at DNS, John, I promise. But why are we prioritizing MFA? Well, truly, it's the low-hanging fruit. It's super easy to deploy. You know, you can have email filtering on, cool. A user is going to find a way to click on a phishing email, and MFA is going to mitigate the severity of the attack. DNS filtering, you're going to reduce your exposure to malicious sites. We totally want DNS filtering, but at the end of the day, a user is going to find a way to a malicious site, and MFA is going to prevent the account takeover. So it's really that bare minimum precaution that they're going to find ways around everything. But if that two-factor authentication is on every application, there's no getting past it. So this is kind of how I would say, framing it for your business. Common sense, bare minimum precaution. And I guess I'll leave you with this. When we first have MSP sign on to our program, I work with them to understand how to leverage MFA. It's the low-hanging fruit, it's the RDPs, it's the Windows logins, it's the VPN. Then you can build on from there. Duo is per user, not per application or per endpoint. So you could have one user protected over 1,000 applications, over 1,000 endpoints. It's the same price. So just starting with one application is a good way to get things rolling. Understanding how you're packaging the offering. You're going to get more traction if you include it in a monthly based SASE secure package. Push past the basic cyber insurance requirements. Just protecting admins on server logins is not enough. That just means that bad actors are not going to go that route. They will go every other user in the environment that they can get to. Protect every user and every endpoint that you can. And then the last would be gaining the understanding of a device hygiene in the environment. And this one, especially being on this call and the way Alex and Marnie run their business, in having you be that consultant to your clients, if you can come to them with reports of, hey, there's these devices logging into your environment that are not hygienic, that the laptop is a personal device and it's all out of date, and you know there's certain firmware not installed that we can see, you're bringing them so much value and saying, let's clean up all these users' devices and enforce policies that ensure every device in the environment, every authenticating device, every logging in device is completely hygienic and going to be safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing for us to hang out there with fear selling and go, oh, you might get a bad device on your network, but if we can show that it happened,
Yeah.
you know, there's even more value there. Hey, somebody's home laptop or whatever.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
they're
So
authenticating their business apps, their OneDrive, their whatever, against their personal devices. Now that doesn't look like your email address.
it is not. So this is Ron's.
Okay.
Being that Ron is in the Southwest and you guys are in Austin, I didn't know where anyone was located.
Oh no, we're actually in Maryland. Well, scattered all over. We're very distributed. So Marnie and I are in Maryland. Amy's in Virginia. Our developers are in Georgia. We don't know where we are. We're everywhere, but our partners are from all over the country. So,
Gotcha.
so being that they're not region specific, where do they start?
Sure. I would start with msp@duo.com. That's your easiest place to go. We have 5 different partner managers across the United States, 2 in Europe, 1 in Australia. We are by the location of you, not your clients. So reach out to MSP@Duo. If you're a partner and don't know your partner manager, they'll let you know. If you're not a partner, they will get you rolling with our ADR team to get a demo, to get signed up, and then you'll be connected with someone like myself who can really help you leverage this in your business.
Awesome. So with that, for those of you who don't spend a lot of, if you are a Slack guy, if you a guy or gal, if you spend any time in MSP Geek as well, there is a Duo Slack channel out in MSP Geek where you can get a hold of these guys and get some direction as well. So if you have questions, comments, whatever, you can get a hold of them out there. And then by this meeting next week, we'll have some custom content to stick into Lifecycle Insights to give you guys a little bit more of a sales advantage where Duo and MFA in general are concerned. We'll try and keep it non-vendor. We'll try and keep it vendor agnostic, but we'll work with these guys to get some specific questions that you can ask to lead folks back to, I need this layer of security, I need this level of security, and maybe an infographic or something that you guys can use when you're making your presentation. So we'll work on getting you some additional content there. Cool. So with that, are we headed over to talk about Umbrella now?
Yes,
Sure.
So that's the other tough one, right? DNS filtering. Why the heck do I need it? How do we get customers to buy into, I don't want you shopping on your lunch break? Because that's really how they see this.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to share my screen right now.
Good.
Just give me 1 second. Should I have
I'd like to throw off heavy Teams users by putting you in Zoom and move all the buttons. So that's really part of our strategy to just keep level the playing field.
Thank you.
You're welcome. At least I'm willing to acknowledge it.
Right.
And sometimes Zoom does it just to themselves. So
Yeah.
Multi-monitors is terrible because your Zoom buttons wind up over there somewhere.
Yes. All right, I think I got it. No, I do not have it. All right, so I guess I'm gonna try doing it off the whim. So first of all, what I would actually want to talk about is what do I actually look for when I'm looking for DNS filtering? So making sure that it has a multi-org dashboard, so you're able to see high level what's happening on your network, and then diving into each and every client from that point. And so you're able to see what's happening from a golden eye view on each and every client's dashboard. You're able to see any malicious websites, any malicious attacks, any threats that's happening on their dashboard, and then able to go and attack it from there. Also, what's their intelligence behind it? What makes them stand out? And so for Umbrella, we have Talos. Talos is a privately owned organization that is a threat intelligence organization. That it's the largest one in, actually on the planet. And this is a non-governmental organization, so it's privately owned. And so it's owned by Cisco. Well, yeah, it's owned by Cisco. It has 250 plus employees that are threat intelligence and data scientists to investigate the internet. And so with that being said, their only job is to investigate what's happening, what's going to be deemed a threat. They're able to categorize it as malicious, as let's say nudity, gang violence, gambling, social media, anything along those lines. And so everything that's over 24 hours old has been categorized. And so they see 180 billion requests daily. They have over 90 million daily active users, and they're in 160 plus countries, so that worldwide. Another thing that I would actually look for as well is what kind of integrations do they have? Are they playing well with the products that I actually have currently? So RMM tools, PSA tools, if an event happens, am I going to get alerted? How am I supposed to know? Am I going to be reaching out to this person? Is this client being infected? What's happening on their network? And so that's something that I would look for as well as reporting. So making sure that I'm able to schedule out reporting for myself and maybe even for my client. So of course you want to show value. So it's not just you boasting about, oh, this network, we'll put you on a trial, and then what we're going to go ahead and do is just monitor it for you and let you know what's happening. How about you send them a report so they actually see what's happening on their network? So they maybe have 5 clients and 4 of them are on Facebook half the time, or maybe one of them is gambling. Wouldn't they want to know that?
So is that something that you guys offer in the sales process, that they can, that an MSP, without having to go out and buy all the licenses and all, can float them for 7 days or 14 days or whatever?
So with Secure Center, with the new Cisco Secure Center, you are able to provision trials for your clients. So it's a 14-day trial that you're able to provision, and it's DNS Essentials and DNS Advantage. And that's one of the highlights of it.
You know, that makes me think, you know, if you don't have an incumbent MSP that's got a network on lockdown and you can't get in there, might be interesting to see the results of that if you have the opportunity to go roll that out with a prospect as part of the sales process. I don't know how often our MSP partners are coming into a scenario where they have that kind of flexibility. You know, quite often it's the old guy stuff gets ripped out by me on day one, and there's not really an opportunity for that sale, but or for that as part of the sale. I'd like to hear from them, from our MSPs, if that's a scenario that they're seeing, that there could be some value there. So.
Yeah, part of the idea behind it was more or less for smaller MSPs. You know, they're not sure about the products. They're newer to the environment, and so that maybe they wanted to trial it out for their clients.
Yeah.
Or maybe the client was apprehensive about, you know, biting the bullet, and so this was giving them a kind of an avenue for them to trial it out, see if it works for them. And you know what, it hasn't done us wrong by any means. And what is a 14-day trial for Cisco, you know?
Yeah.
And especially if it's showing proof of value, it's kind of a no-brainer. Any questions or?
What are you guys, and go ahead and come off mute and pipe up, guys, but what are your biggest struggles in selling content filtering? You know, we talked about MFA and how it's a struggle because it's a pain in the neck for people and they just don't want to be inconvenienced by it. What are the problems that you guys are coming across in content filtering, or does that seem to be an easier sale?
Well, we're getting a bunch of feedback saying like, oh, well, I don't want to do this because it might interrupt my VPN. But good thing about Umbrella is it's excuse me, it goes dormant when they're on the VPN, and so it's not going to interfere with any type of VPN of, you know, that they have. Also, the integrations, the playing that it has, the with other tools and other items. So far, we haven't hit a wall as of yet. Maybe they have issues with support issues or something with MSLA, or, you know, in the past. But what we've done with Secure Center is trying to combat that and take the good aspects of Duo that they have, their support, the way it's consumed, and also migrated within this system. Awesome. And so we haven't had any negative feedback as of yet, but when you guys are on this platform, and I'm speaking to all of your MSPs, please let us know and what we could do better, so if there's anything that we can.
So how do they reach out? And we have the Duo or the MSP at Duo email address. How do they reach out to somebody on the Umbrella side? You
could email msp@cisco.com, or myself, which would be John Riv, RIV, #2 @cisco.com. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat as well.
Yeah, please.
So I know I've fumbled in the past articulating the difference between, like, how is this, it's filtering stuff, which the customer always interprets, well, isn't that what my antivirus is doing? And other layered security products that might be in place. So I know I've fumbled that in the past and struggled.
I think it's especially with so many businesses that have a remote workforce right now, that it's kind of a no-brainer when you talk to your customers and say, you know, you have everybody working from home and they're not behind a firewall today.
Yeah.
You know, when you explain it to them that way, they understand what a firewall is,
right,
and that protects them. And so if you can kind of compare it to that, then, you know, we've actually been selling Umbrella for some time now, and you know, it's a great product. It's not hugely expensive, and when you explain it, depending on how you explain it, we almost never have problems selling it.
That's awesome. Do you guys have a specific line item on your risk assessment that points back to Umbrella?
Yes.
Okay, I might pick your brain and try and borrow that from you for the group if you'd be willing to share.
Sure.
Awesome. So with that, I think that kind of wraps up everything that we had to chat about today. Does anybody have questions, comments for the gentleman from Cisco, or for us over here on the Lifecycle side that you want to cover in the last 10 minutes, or are we at a good point to let you guys have your Friday? Everybody gets so quiet when I say you can have 10 minutes of your Friday.
Tim
No
is always
questions,
saying
let the bell
bye-bye.
ring. Yeah.
If you've ever done a training and you want it to end, ask anyone.
Would
if
you like to have 10 minutes of your day
questions
back?
or
Yeah.
lunch, right? Like you'll know they will be done.
True story. Well, thanks everybody. I appreciate everybody coming out today. I hope you're excited about the Breach Secure Now release. That should be coming out over the weekend. So if you're working over the weekend, you'll be able to check it out and play with it. But I would rather you guys come check it out on Monday and play with it and let us know how you make out. We'll have some conversations around it on this call next week to make sure that everybody had a good experience and to answer any questions you have around Breach Secure Now. We'll take the results of your polls with us to our offsite leadership meeting in 10 days, 10 days, whenever we're doing that. And then we'll start to build the roadmap for 2022. And we'll have some more feedback for you guys in a couple of weeks on what's going to make the cut, what's going to get integrated, and what partnerships we're going to continue to explore and push in the platform to give you guys more data points and an easier client presentation. So that's all I've got. Marnie, you got anything else?
Nope, all good. So
Happy Friday, everyone. That was a long
Friday,
week.
yeah.
I'm glad we got through it.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
Yep, have a good one.
Everyone.